So first things first, we want to make sure we have a sharp knife. Then we cut the skin off the top, not too much, not cutting into the breast, getting rid of the dangly skin. Then we take the wing off. There's not much meat left on the wing, and the wing hole isn't too big. Cut the skin between the leg and breast, not cutting into the breast or the thigh, and gathering all the meat within the oyster whilst cutting the leg off the frame. When boning out the leg, make sure there is minimal meat on the leg bone, as well as ensuring the hole in the leg meat is not too large, also having no bone chips in the boneless meat. As we can see there, no bone chips in the meat, and the hole is not too large. Same thing on the other side. When we start cutting the wing, we want to make sure there's not too much meat on the wing and the hole isn't too large. Getting all the meat out of the oyster, and then we're coming down the left hand side of the leg bone, and now the right hand side, making sure we're getting as much meat as possible. When cutting out the leg bone, making sure to get the hole as small as possible, and having clean leg bones is key to having good leg meat. Now we're starting on the double breast here. We're going to come up and under over the shoulder and getting all the meat on the shoulder, making sure we can see the shoulder, and scraping our knife down the side of the frame, making sure it is clean, getting as much meat off the frame and onto the breast. As we're coming around the wishbone, we need to make sure to go up and under, collecting of the meat, and then coming around to the other side of the ear. Now we got our breast, tenderloins intact, breast intact, and not too much of a rip. Cutting out any bone chips that you can see, and checking the frame is clean. Made sure all the meat under the wishbone and all the shoulders are nice and clean. That's how the whole bone should be done, and that is the Bonaparte Spec. So here is a no commentary version of how to do the whole bone, which is a bit more sped up. Now on to skinless boneless thigh and skinless single breast. Same as before, not much meat on the wing, small hole on the wing. Cutting the drum nice and clean. Getting a good drumstick is important for the thigh and the drum. Other side, cutting the wing, same as usual. Cutting the drum straight through and cutting the skin underneath, making sure we're not cutting the bottom of the breast. Skinning the bird, making sure to collect all the skin and fat on the top. And just like taking off a leg, we take off the thigh, getting all the meat out of the oyster and underneath, making sure the thigh gets ripped off the frame. Making sure we're cutting all the meat off the bone as much as possible without leaving any bone chips. And cutting out the little piece of soft bone, making sure not too much meat's on the soft bone so the thigh is large. Onto the other side of the thigh, the same thing, making sure that the bone is clean and not leaving any of the bone in the meat. Soft bone being as small as you can. Cutting the breast, coming down each side, making sure it's clean in the stem of the frame, and coming back right back to the shoulders, making sure we can see the shoulders, making sure the tenderloin's intact and it has a nice ear or scapula on the breast. Coming up and under the wishbone, just like with our double breast, collecting all the meat possible and going right back to the shoulder again. And here is a sped up version. And now onto one of our fastest cuts, which is whole leg and skin on double breast. Once again, cutting the skin off the top, cutting the wing, making sure there is not much meat on the wing and the hole is small. Coming around to the other side and doing the same. And when cutting the whole leg, we like to go up high, getting as much whole leg that we can possibly get. So once it's cut there, we're going to put it onto the chopping board and split it directly down the center. We want to make both sides as even as possible. Then we are going to start on the skin on double breast, cutting off any dangly bits of skin, and once again coming right back to the shoulder, scraping the meat off the frame with our knife. Then we're coming around and making sure at this bit that we are not ripping too much. If we rip too much, the breast will just have a big rip in it. So we're keeping it nice and tight, keeping the tension so we can get a clean frame, going up and under the wishbone, down the other side of the stem, collecting all the meat there, and then going back to the shoulder again. And there is our skin on double breast and our whole leg. It is a very fast cut, and here is the normal version.